Good morning guys from my hotel in Bogotá, just outside Bogota Airport, where I will be catching a flight this lunchtime with Iberia on their A350 in business class all the way back to Madrid, and I want you guys to come along with me. So I'm just waiting for a minibus transfer now, which is going to take me over to the airport. We're going to go through security and all that kind of stuff, and then we're going to check out the lounge. So yeah, just waiting for that. Come along with me, I'll see you at the airport. I absolutely loved Bogotá. It was colourful, vibrant, the people were fantastic, and I was constantly high in terms of altitude, not anything else I hasten to add. Yeah, it was a shame to be going back, but here I was at El Dorado International Airport, which itself is over 8,000 feet above sea level. Opened in 1959, it's the busiest airport in South America, handling over 45 million passengers in 2024, and is home to Colombia's national airline Avianca. After the escalator ride up to departures, you have the Iberia check-in desks right in front of you here, but I'd already done all that electronically and, as usual, had carry-on luggage only. So I headed straight over to the gate line where my electronic boarding pass successfully let me through to passport control. Security was next, and after a quick bag scan it was through to the usual duty free and time to look for the lounge. Up in the lift, and here I was at Bogotá's LATAM VIP lounge.
500 francs to be here.
Hola. Am I at the right lounge?
Yeah, you're right.
Good, that's excellent.
Do you have any bags?
Any what, sorry?
Any bags?
Oh no, just myself,
Okay, so you're welcome.
Lovely, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
The staff member at the desk let me in, and I found a seat overlooking the ramp. Some very decent views from here, but overall this small lounge space was probably one of the worst I've been in. And that surprised me, to be honest, because the other LATAM lounges I'd tried in Sao Paulo and Chile had both been excellent, especially the latter. The food offering was truly dismal. Would you like a glass of warm orange juice with your muesli, sir? How about half a cup of coffee too? Or maybe a plate of mushrooms, scrambled egg, some kind of rice thing, and tasteless corn kind of... Well, I've no idea what that was, to be honest. There were no other hot meal choices available, but the muesli was fine, I guess, and there were some pastries and some fruit and cold ham cheese options, but yeah, some alcohol. That was a bit early for me, to be honest. There are toilet and shower facilities available, but overall, like I said, the other LATAM lounges I'd experienced in South America were much, much better. Maybe I've been spoiled by them a bit. Anyway, I watched our aircraft being towed onto stand, ECNXE, a 2.5-year-old Airbus A350-900, and then it was time to head for the gate, where she was waiting under grey dull skies. When I arrived, they were already boarding in Group 1, which was good, although in reality they were just shuffling us through onto the jet bridge to enjoy the views from there. But after about 10 minutes we were finally allowed on board.
Hola, bienvenido. Pase a la izquierda.
It's quite busy in the business cabin this morning. We're looking at a 1-2-1 seating configuration here, with all seats having direct access to the aisles. In fact, Iberia call them private booths rather than seats, and I guess that's mainly because each seat has a sliding door for extra privacy. And I headed for my own private booth, which was on the left hand side, and I just settled in for the journey. Right guys, so on board is seated 2A on Iberia's A350, and yeah, straight away within a minute of finding my seat, flight attendant straight across, would you like water, orange juice or cava? Of course it's cava, isn't it? But that's the sort of service you're going to get, and it's going to be a great flight. I'm really looking forward to this. About 40 minutes to departure hopefully. I'll see you in a bit. The carver was great, as was the welcome from the crew, especially the purser, who addressed me by name, told me the flight time, which would be around 8 hours and 50 minutes, and already knew that I was connecting through Madrid to London. Departure was 12:50 PM, and the information on the IFE screen gave an estimated arrival time into Madrid of 04:43 in the morning. That was more than enough time for my connection back to London at 0900 hours, but my biggest concern would be whether the lounge would be open or not. Still pretty miserable weather outside, but enjoy the takeoff with me as we climb out of Bogotá with views over the massive urban sprawl before reaching the clouds and continuing through to the cruise, which today would be starting off at 37,000 feet. As we continue to climb, we'll have a quick look at some of the features of our private booth. And beneath the 18.5 inch screen here, we have the table which slides out and flips over to give you ample room for work, or if you're like me, just use it to store your food and drink. I'm not someone who gets their laptop out to do some editing, to be honest. I prefer to use the time on a long haul flight to relax and just enjoy the experience as much as possible. And to your right here is the amenity kit, we'll have a proper look at that later. USB A and C, conventional power and headphone sockets. Seat controls are down here, and I'll show you the seat in its upright and lie flat positions when I try and get some sleep. And behind your right shoulder is a small cupboard for storing all your stuff, inside which are a pair of Iberia's noise cancelling headphones. We finally reached our cruising altitude and the crew were able to come round to start the meal service. I must admit I was starving after that mediocre breakfast in the lounge earlier. Well, the first thing I ordered was a massive glass of Spanish Chardonnay, with a glass of water obviously, and that came with a small plate of olives, some cheese and breadsticks. Dinner was served after about an hour, and by this time we were heading out over the Caribbean Sea, so it was of course accompanied by a side order of turbulence. I had the roast beef with palm hearts, marinated cherry tomato and olive oil starter, followed by the grilled salmon teriyaki with potatoes au gratin and grilled vegetables. For dessert, I chose the dulce de leche cheesecake with red berries jam. I must say the quality, presentation and service was excellent. All the food and drink was delicious, and I finished it all off with a coffee. I really enjoyed this part of the flight. Leaving Bogotá around lunchtime, it is of course daylight, and our route takes us over the Caribbean, and some of the islands I could see out the window looked absolutely beautiful. Now, I've never been to this part of the world, but I'd love to go. I'm just not sure which of the islands it's best to visit. Are there any inter-island ferries, or should I take a cruise? I wouldn't need much of an excuse to go, to be honest, so please, if you've got any suggestions, let me know in the comments below. Right guys, so we are just flying over Bogotá, one of the islands in the Caribbean. We're over 2 hours into the flight. Dinner was excellent and the service has been excellent too. Now I think we're going to do a little bit of an experiment at this point, because I reckon when I nip to the toilet to do the loo review and get changed, by the time I get back this blind here will be shut and it won't be me that's shut it. Shall we see what happens? Okay, let's go do the loo review first. Okay, well, the toilet was pretty good, I thought. A large and well illuminated mirror here. There was a posh looking hand soap at the sink and a separate bottle of hand cream above that. There's a bench here that folds down over the toilet area, and yeah, all in all, the area was clean, and incidentally, I checked again about 6.5 hours into the flight and it was still in the same condition. No pyjamas were provided by Iberia. Good job I brought my Virgin Atlantic ones. And sure enough, when I returned to the cabin it was shrouded in darkness, but to be fair, my window blind hadn't been closed fully, which was good really, because there was enough light to show you the seat in its upright position, and also in bed mode here, which was roomy enough for me, but yeah, I'm only about 5'8", so I don't tend to struggle much in these situations, whether it's here or on a bus. And I felt a bit bad being the only one with their blind open, so I did close it completely as we left the Caribbean behind and headed east over the Atlantic. Daylight turns to darkness very quickly when you're heading this way, doesn't it? And the next time I opened my blind, this was very much the case. And I reckon I had a couple of hours sleep on and off, though I wasn't particularly tired really, so I had a bit of a wander into the economy class, which was arranged in a 333 seating configuration, where most people seem to be watching something on their TV screens. I went back and did the same. There is an extensive movie library, TV shows, games, all the usual content you would expect to see on a long-haul flight such as this, but as per usual, I was more interested in the moving map. Touchscreen was responsive and there were plenty of options here, including the heads-up display where you can see we were approaching mainland Europe now at a cruising altitude of 40,000 feet. Worth mentioning that if you're an Iberia Club member and travelling in business class, there is free access to messaging apps like WhatsApp and Messenger via the onboard Wi-Fi. I signed into this earlier on in the flight and it connected quickly and worked very well throughout. Breakfast was served, a delicious omelette with sausage for me, served with sautéed spinach, mushrooms and potatoes, along with orange juice and a coffee. I promised you a look at the amenity kit earlier, which comes in a Teresa Helbig bag. She also designed the Iberia uniforms, by the way. There's an eye mask, earplugs, toothbrush and toothpaste, flight socks, lip balm, hand cream and a bookmark. Yeah, quite a decent kit this, and worth taking home and adding to the pile. Over Spain now, and well into the descent, as you can see on the heads-up display here. I had a quick chat with the captain earlier on when I bumped into him coming out of the loo. He was hoping for an on-time arrival in Madrid, but that was very much dependent on traffic. Well, traffic must have been really good, because before we knew it, we were approaching Madrid. Cabin lighting was increased as we came into land with an estimated arrival time of 04:42 in the morning. The price I paid for this one-way flight, well, it was an Avios redemption of 55,250 Avios plus £151 and 10 pence in taxes. So if you value your Avios at 1 pence per Avio, it came in at around £700, and that includes the second leg back to Heathrow, which was also in business class. And I don't think that's too bad at all, really, value-wise. And this was a nice touch. After we'd landed, some information popped up on the screen telling us how far we'd travelled, maximum altitude and maximum speed. 4,990 miles, 40,000 feet and 625 miles per hour, just in case anybody complains that it's all in metric. Anyway, we taxied to one of the gates at Terminal 4S at Madrid's Bogota Airport, which looked very lonely at this time in the morning.
Un segundito, señor. Adelante. Gracias.
Adiós.
It wasn't long before the jet bridge was connected and we were able to disembark and into a super quiet Terminal 4S this morning. Sure enough, the duty-free area that allows access into the lounge didn't open until 6 o'clock, and that meant I had plenty of time to find a seat and just take a couple of minutes to summarise the journey. Alright then guys, Madrid Airport, Terminal 4S of course, just arrived 50 minutes ahead of schedule according to the captain at 04:45 in the morning. There's only one drawback with that, and that is that the Iberia is the Velasquez premium lounge, the one that's halfway through the duty-free shopping area. That doesn't open until 6 o'clock, so I'm kind of hanging around here in a pretty much empty terminal building, just giving you this summary, which is absolutely fine. What did you think of that flight with Iberia in the A350 business class from Bogotá? Well, you know me, I'll always find something to moan about. I cannot find anything to moan about with that flight. I thought it was excellent. The crew were excellent, the service was excellent, the food and the drink was excellent as well. Honestly, I cannot find fault with it. The in-flight entertainment, absolutely brilliant. The seat itself, yeah, fantastic, and lots of privacy with the sliding door. Yeah, like I said, I cannot find fault with it at all. I thought it was right up there with some of the best business class flights that I've taken. I haven't taken that many, but the ones I have had, yeah, with Iberia, it's right up there. So, well done to them. An excellent trip. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed it as well, and I will catch you on another adventure soon, I'm sure. And until then, guys, as always, cheers for now.